So this is the basic steps on how to hydrodip anything. This happens to be a Savage 6.5 Creedmore rifle. I've already taken the barrel off, removed the trigger hardware, removed the trigger assembly, all the guts, that sort of thing. Here I've got one of those magnetized little bowls. Works fantastic. Just put all the screws and stuff in that thing. There's the denatured fuel to clean it, the double or triple aught steel wool, the denatured alcohol. Make sure get all your oil from your skin, the rust, all that good stuff. Just get it good and clean. Once it's clean, I use vehicle pinstriping. It seems to work very well. You stick it on there, and you can get it at your local car paint shop. You put it on there, and then you peel the little clear coat off on the outside, and then anyway, works very well. Now, if you can see, I went to my local hardware store, bought these little tiny cork things, and you just stick them in the holes. So when you hydro dip it, because you do have to stick it in water, submerge it completely. You don't want anything getting in the chamber, the barrel, or as little as possible anyway. Everything corked off, and all of the external writing pinstriped. You want to take and seal off the chamber, and that is just a pain. You see, I tried doing it this way, and then ended up having to go through and just did it from the inside, and then here in a moment you'll see that I used more of the pinstriping to help kind of seal it, and it worked pretty well. There was just a tiny bit of moisture on the inside of the barrel after I hydro dipped it. Once I finished all this, and this is one way to do it. There are 50 different ways, so you just whatever suits you. This is not the best way. This is just the way that I've figured out so far, and when I come up with something better or run across something better, I'll start using that method. But this is the underside that's actually going to go in the stock, so it's not like you'll be able to see it. This obviously is the side. So it's one of those things you have to keep in mind. What's going to be seen, what won't. So I'm about to spray the base coat of the Hydrodip, this dip bite. Each different Hydrodip has a specific base coat that needs to be underneath it, so it'll accentuate the colors and also accept the. You can't just use regular spray paint on this. It's got to be the spray paint that accepts the Hydrodip. So make sure and just get the whole kit that's got the paint in it and everything. Makes it easier. This is me pinstriping the little Savage logo on the stock. I thought that would be neat, so I did it. No reason for it. Again, I'm using that vehicle pinstripe appropriate size piece to Hydrodip. Then you put the blue tape around it to prevent it from expanding, because if you don't put tape around it, it just expands and will take up the entire, in my case, I'm using a bathtub because I don't have anything else. The wife and kids were gone, so it worked out well. When you put it in there, you have to be careful to not get any bubbles underneath it, and you don't want any water getting on top of it. The water temperature that you need to use is somewhere around 90 degrees. That's what the instructions said to use, so that's what I did. You'll notice I'm wearing an N95 mask, or, well, you can see sort of. Anyway, and because the activator spray that you have to spray on there it stinks. So once you put it on the water, you let it sit for 60 seconds. Then you spray the activator spray on it, which I'll do here at some point. And then you let it sit for 15. And obviously these are not set in stone. You can go a little bit longer, a little bit shorter. But that's roughly what I do. And if you watch how I spray the activator here, you just want to keep it the same speed and try to get the exact amount of coverage. And when you do that, and you do it correctly, this is after me doing it wrong hundreds of times, you can look and it will be glassed out, is what they call it. The top of it actually looks like glass. It becomes clear and shiny when before it's dull. There are several different ways to hydrodip a rifle stock. I decided to do this one all at one time rather than doing one side and then the other. And you put it in at an angle, basically get one side, and then you roll it so as not to stretch the specific pattern. You want to keep the pattern all the same size. So, and I apologize I didn't show you after I did it. I somehow managed to get the clips backwards. I actually did the barrel first and then did the stock, but anyway. So again, very difficult to get it on the water without making any bubbles underneath it. And I think I did have a bubble up the corner of this, top left corner. And there was a water spot on there somewhere, and I cannot remember where. But anyway, again, 90-degree water, set it on there. Let it sit for 60 seconds. And also, if you'll notice at the corners, I folded the tape in so they're not sticky, so I'm not touching. So as you drop it onto the water, when you let go of it, it actually stays on the water, because if it's still sticky, when you remove your fingers, it picks the whole thing up and falls apart. It's just a giant mess, and you've wasted your time. So anyway, you just wait for 60 seconds, spray the activator, again at a very even speed. Just do the best you can. If you do get it wrong, you can use that denatured alcohol and just douse a paper towel in that, and you can actually wipe the Hydrodip off, and then it actually cleans up the paint underneath it, the base coat, back to whatever the original color is, and then you can just dip it again. The most I've done it wrong is I think 3 or 4 times, and I was able to use that denatured alcohol to clean it each time and get it back to just the base coat, and it still worked great. So it's a very forgiving process, as long as you, I don't know, I'm sure there's a way to screw it up and make it worse, but I'm not sure. Anyway, so apparently on this, I'm waiting the 60 seconds, maybe plus some. And there's the spray. I'm going a little faster on this one. And again, you'll notice it goes from a flat surface to literally a shiny mirror-like surface. It looks like the surface of the water. I'm checking right here to see if it's glassed out, because the angle of the tub, I couldn't tell, so I had to get right down there on top of it and very nearly stuck my face in the water. and I had to figure out how to do this. So when you do this, you want to dip it at about, I think they said it's like a 30-degree angle. And as soon as you get it in there, you'll see I go very fast. So once the hydro dip is dry and you want to remove this automotive pinstriping, make sure you cut around the edges of it, because if you don't, it will peel the hydro dip uh, off of the paint. It's just trust me and cut it, because if you don't, you'll be sorry. That's another one of those I did wrong 50 times, actually about twice, and then after being made to hydro dip something for a second time that was perfect to begin with is really aggravating. And yeah, what's the saying? The gift of failure. And once you figure out how not to do it, here is a easy way to rather than using thread locker or the blue or red Loctite or whatever it's called. Literally, my dad told me this years ago. This is before they had all that Loctite thread locker stuff. This is what they used. They would find their mom's nail polish, just put a little bit of that, dab it onto the threads before you screw in your stuff for your scopes, and you never have to worry about it. This stuff doesn't, once it dries, it comes loose when you're ready for it to, and it stays there until you're not. And it's cheap, it's easy, and it's worked for, I don't know, since the first person discovered it, 80 years ago or something, whatever. Anyway, so there's really no point in going crazy and buying the blue Loctite or whatever. Clear nail polish is fantastic. It stings for a minute once it dries. Like if you're going to put your scope on or anything like that, don't use the nail polish and then go shoot the same day. That's just stupid. Put it on there, let it dry for 24, 48 hours, and then go do your thing, and you won't ever have to worry about any of those screws backing out or anything. This is just a little torque wrench. I was guessing what it would be. I was just showing you. I think I put it at 20 pounds, something like that. Um, anyway, I obviously am from Texas, born and raised. I try to speak proper King's English, but you can tell a lot of the stuff I do is very redneck, which again is making do with what you have. Hence the nail polish. But I mean, if it's not broke, don't fix it. There's no point trying to reinvent the wheel. I'm sure that's not what a gunsmith will tell you, but I've been doing it for 20, 28 years, and my dad's been doing it for even longer than that, and it's it's worked for him longer than I've been alive. So anyway, what I just showed you there is the it's called a dead flat clear coat. It's an automotive clear coat. It comes from Dip Wizard or Southern Hydrographics, anyway, that sort of thing. And this stuff it's an automotive clear coat that's meant to withstand the 60 mile an hour gravel strikes and that sort of thing. So your nice, pretty paint job and Hydrodip doesn't get all jacked up from just normal wear and tear, which it's going to anyway, but it's just going to take it a lot longer. That clear coat's actually pretty good. Getting a nice view of my chicken coop there as well. And with the clear coat, you want to put like basically a clear coat on. Whew, I almost dropped that right there. You want to put the clear coat on, let it sit for several hours, and then stop. Because if you put too much on at one time, instead of being dead flat, it ends up with like this satin kind of semi shiny. And I'll be honest, I've used 3 different kinds, and I've done exactly what the instructions say, and you can't seem to. There's always a little bit of shine, despite it saying dead flat. It's never dead flat. I'm sure they make one, and it's probably something that's ridiculously expensive. I have not been able to lay hands on yet. So anyway, and here is what am I doing here? Oh, putting the trigger assembly back on and reassembling the rifle. This is after I put the M Carbo spring set to reduce the trigger pull on this thing from like, what they say, 8 or 9 pounds down to like 2.5. So it makes a world of difference. The gun goes from shooting to where you're pulling 3 inches to the right at 30 yards because the trigger pull is so bad, to dead nuts at whatever distance. It's just fantastic. So anyway, if you haven't tried that M Carbo, they're a great company, veteran owned, lifetime warranty, and I don't know, I've installed 4 of them on different rifles and pistols that I own, and then several others for other family members, and everybody absolutely loves them. So here's the fun part that nobody shows you. This is an airbrush gun, and that is the easiest way to do touch-ups or anything like this. If you're going to hydro dip, you need one of these, because if you use the paintbrush technique, like they say, where you spray the activator into, like, say, a beer cap, and then put the paintbrush in it, and then put the paintbrush to while it's wet with the activator. Then you put that in the on the Hydrodip, and you swirl it around until it activates it and gets loose, and then you dab it onto the little white spots. It's such a pain, and it's completely overrated. You can use the airbrush and just, assuming you have the correct color. Because here's the thing: when you do Hydrodip something, you'll do the best you can. You're always going to get. I've never done it and not been able to get bubbles in some areas. There's always some area that is a pain in the butt that refuses to cooperate. So you end up having to do the airbrush here, and so if you can get your hands on a little airbrush, I mean, I think they've got like little $30 jobs on Amazon. That's all you need. You don't need something stupid, some $1,000 job. No more than what you use. And here's the final product. He's my person that had me do this. Is going to be changing out the scope and whatnot, so they didn't want me to do that. So that's just the scope that came on it. And you can see it blends right in with the tree and stuff. There is some green on there. It's not really showing up too well in this light or to the camera, but you can see that dead flat is actually kind of satin. It's just, that's how it works. Not sure why, but anyway, that camouflage will look much better in person. And anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe, and I'll just keep putting oddball things on here. I hope you all have a good day.